Today, let's find out if you are falling for these 5 trading traps. Now, I'm Pat Mitchell. I've been a professional day trader for the past 11 years. And today we're going to be discussing the 5 trading traps. And although there are far more, these are the main trading traps that a lot of new and struggling traders struggle with, and they fall for, and they might even know that they're not falling for. So we're going to get into it. The very first one is one of my favorites, and something that's always driven me nuts is day traders that set up a lavish office. And it's not just the office, it's the monitors, the amount of monitors. We've all seen these people out there that have like 20 bloody monitors out there, but they can barely handle one trading position. Okay, so let's take a look at this. When we really break this down, what's going on here is what they're trying to do is essentially make themselves out to be something that they aren't. Now, I understand for the most part, people will tell themselves that they are setting up a really nice office is what they're doing. And I get it. We all deserve to work in a really nice, comfortable area and the whole nine. But what we are doing when we are setting up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 different trading monitors on your system is all you are doing is causing noise. We need to really, as traders, we need to focus on focusing, really narrowing down our subject matter, which are the positions that we are currently in. Now, if you're a new or struggling trader and you have 4, 5, 6 trading monitors and you're not using them because you know you're not using them, basically you're setting up what looks like some sort of institutional hedge fund in your home office. Let's get a grip. Now, I know it may look cool. I understand that, but what's really going on, to bring it back down to what the problem is and what it's causing is that lack of focus. Now, if you are having problems trading and actually being a consistent trader, and you have all those monitors up, there's no way you're going to be able to monitor correctly, because all of these extra monitors that are popping up are going to catch your eye. Now, it's interesting because people will have a tendency to think that they need to act a certain way or look a certain way to be the part, right? To be that professional. And it was interesting in the beginning of my career, and I had already made well over $1 million at this point in my trading career. And I used an all-in-one PC and a $20 monitor that I got on some marketplace where I grew up. And that did just fine. If I can make that much money off of that shitty setup, a lot of people will equate what their equipment to their success. And that is not the case. There's no correlation. Now, I understand if you are working off of something that cannot handle the trading software, yeah, you need an upgrade. I get it. If you're running some like i3, i5 chip, yeah, you're probably going to have issues. But if you're using a proper PC or laptop in combination with maybe one monitor, that's all you need. Like a 2 monitor setup for trading is the maximum that you will need, unless you're, like I said, you're running some sort of hedge fund or you are a swing trader monitoring massive portfolio. But even then, you still don't need it. You don't need to be staring at those charts the whole time. Now, one of the problems that I have with this is what it boils down to is you're investing all of this money into your trading system without proving consistency, and you're going to have to take my word for this. When it gets to where you're just about consistent and you've probably blown up accounts, you've whittled down accounts, which is part of the process. Don't beat yourself up over that, because it does happen. You're going to wish, instead of this $10,000 or $20,000 setup that you have, you're going to wish that you invested that into, number one, probably should have invested into education or your actual trading account, especially your trading account. Now, there's going to be some people that are going to make the argument that, I have a vast amount of disposable income, and that's great. But again, It boils down to noise. We need to focus. That's going to be catching your attention left, right, and center, what you're seeing on those monitors. There is absolutely no way that you're going to be able to focus on the position that you're taking without seeing a bunch of other charts. And that's a major issue. Now, number 2, software. I'm not talking about regular trading charts and that sort of stuff, or your broker platform or whatever. Obviously, that is necessary. And I do believe in investing in proper tools. Okay. So there's 2 ways that this one little topic can go. Now, the ones that don't invest in proper software and you're falling for the trap of free is the absolute most expensive word in the English or any language for that matter. Free is not free. There's no such thing as free in this world. Okay. So that's number 1. And to elaborate a little further on that, if you're using free charting software, number 1, their data is not going to be proper. It's not going to be coming in at real time. They may tell you it's real time, but there is a lag, 100%. They cannot offer premium for free. There's no such thing as a premium product for free. And number 2, if you're using a broker platform that is free, well, then they're making money off of you, and they're making money off of the slippage of your positions when you go to buy and sell. That's what's going on. So free, stay away from free software of any kind. Don't use it whatsoever. And then the other side of it, whether it's paid or not, you're kind of falling for the trap of shiny object syndrome, which we're going to get into on that one as well. But you're constantly looking for the latest and greatest. And when it comes to trading, simplicity really is key. If you're using stuff that is overcomplicated, it's not going to do anything. There's a reason why, if you were to actually break down even institutional algorithms, they are based off a very simple technique. Now, the algorithm itself may be complex, but the actual inputs of what they're looking for are extremely simple and extremely basic. And there's a reason for that, because simplicity works. Now, I can tell you a really quick story, and I'm not going to mention the name of the software because it doesn't matter. The creators of the software are great people. I years ago had a really good relationship with them, and I did like their product. The issue was they were constantly trying to reinvent the wheel. And the wheel that they were trying to reinvent were the charts. Instead of candlesticks, it was something else. It doesn't matter what that is, because that'll be a dead giveaway as to who it is. And it's not about bad mouthing them. I really believe that they thought they were on to something. And it's kind of one of those things where, reinventing the wheel, if you were to reinvent the wheel, it is unnecessary. It's silly is what it is. And a lot of people will fall for that, thinking that it's going to give them an edge in trading. And that's not the case. It's not going to give you an edge. In fact, it's going to do the complete opposite of that. And it will hold you back. So be really careful with the software that you are using, and making sure that you aren't doing a bunch of busy work, right? And again, a lot of people will use complicated software to it almost is like a subconscious thing to make them feel like they know what they're doing. And so then they can kind of show, as well as the trading monitor thing, when you've got 5, 6, 8 monitors, at the beginning, nobody's going to believe in you, right? And they're going to think maybe you're not taking it serious, or this or that, whatever the issue is with friends, family, whatever. So it's a way to kind of give credibility in a way without really giving any type of credibility. What you're doing is you want to be like, hey, look at me. I'm taking it seriously because I've got 20 monitors and all this crazy fancy software up, where in fact, it's not helping you at all. Don't worry about what other people say and how they look at you at the beginning, because you're going to find very little support out there. So don't worry about that. Number 3, the grass is greener effect. Okay. So what I mean by that is people will get into this circle jerk of constantly doing new things. Now, at the beginning, what I am not saying is trying different things. Trying different things to see what works is part of the process. We need to eliminate the stuff that doesn't work and stick with the stuff that does. That's not what I'm talking about, obviously. But what a lot of people do, and it boils into software as well, is what people will end up doing is they're always going to be looking for the next thing. Well, people need to understand that this is a game of inches and it's a game of years. Okay. So I'll give you an example. When we are first discovering our strategy, the reason why this takes so long is if you, let's say you notice something on those charts, whatever it is, and you're like, that's really interesting. Well, that's not strategy, and you have no idea if what you're seeing is correct. Why? Because it hasn't proven what you've seen right there on the charts. You haven't seen that happen 10,000 times. Now, 10,000 may be a big number, but let's even say 100 times. Now, in order to see that same thing happening 100 times, which is not a lot of times, by the way, okay, you shouldn't be basing a strategy off of 100 times that you've seen that. You need much more, a bigger sample size, a bigger pool size, okay? That's how you develop strategy. So if you've seen that once, now maybe let's say it takes a week to see that exact same thing again. Hell, let's say it takes a month. Remember, you need at least 100 times to see that. So you're talking 100 weeks. Well, that's 2 years, right? And then if you want to talk months, now you're talking years. That's what I'm saying. I have certain strategies that have literally taken me this full 11 years to develop because of the amount of duration between the time that I saw it until the time I see it again. It takes time, guys. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't think about. So, which brings me into the grass is always greener effect, and people kind of like this shiny object syndrome. They'll stop what they were looking for because too much time has went by, where you could be absolutely onto something. And there's been other times where I've completely wasted the time. It didn't work. It didn't check out, and I had to scrap it. But you have to be okay with scrapping things. You can't hold on like that. And that's part of strategy. This is why the process of trading to become a professional trader does take years and years and years. You know, one thing that people always ask me when they come into Tricktrades is, how long until I'm consistent? I have no idea. Now, I can show you everything I know, but it doesn't mean that you're going to have the bandwidth and able to process it. You just won't. Because why? Because this has taken me over a decade to do, and it's going to take you the same. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't be consistent in that time. That's not what I'm saying. You absolutely can. But you have to remember, it's a game of inches and it's a game of years, and it takes a lot of time. So in relation to the shiny object syndrome and always switching things, it's like I've seen so many traders mess up. I've trained over 35,000 traders at this point. And one of the biggest issues that I see people do is they'll constantly switch vehicles. So they'll go from penny stocks to options to crypto to futures to Forex. They're constantly switching, where if they would have just stayed with the first thing, they would be there by now. See, when you start trying something, let's say you start with options, okay? Now, I don't trade options in the traditional sense. That's a whole other topic for another video. My strategy is very simple. I'm essentially a stock trader, but I execute via options, okay? And let's say I start out with options. Let's say I started out with my strategy. And just through the course of time, because it takes a long time in order to get consistent and see what you're seeing is correct, I would leave. And let's say I left after a year. And then I went on to fucking Forex or something stupid like that. Okay, so now I give Forex a year. Well, now that's 2 years with no consistency. And at the end of that year, I'm like, no, this isn't working. And I'm going to move on to futures now. Why? Because they offer funded accounts and it seems great. Well, you can average into that position. There's a bunch of other stuff that it's like, you're going to get hammered on those. But anyways, so then I try futures and then that doesn't work. And I've given it a year. Now you're at 3 years. This is why traders end up giving up, because they put so much time into a number of different things that you have to give time to before you know it, before you blink your eyes, 5 years has went by and you have no consistency, nothing to show for it. You're down a bunch of money and you're like, fuck this. This is bullshit. Nobody can be a professional trader. This is all bullshit. It's because you're not giving that one vehicle the time and attention it needs. This takes years, guys. Okay. So stick with what you are doing and work it. That's what needs to be done. Do not be thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. I've seen far too many traders do that, and I don't want to see that anymore. And I really wish, if there's one point that you guys listen to me on this, it's that. Stick with what you are doing and work it. Now, number 4, information. So we live in an age of information, and that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. Now, when I first started trading, there was no information out there. Now, the only people that were out there were guys like Tim Sykes, Jason Bond, Cameron Foose. That was it. Okay. And Ross Cameron was just starting to come out. Anyone that's taken any of their courses or been a part of their service, need I say more? It's nonsense. There's nothing there that's actually going to train you to be a consistent trader. It's all really antiquated information and education that doesn't actually work. It's designed to keep you chained to their hip. Okay. So back then there wasn't anything out there. There's a little bit of really great free information out there. Okay. But you got to search for it. But the problem is, on the other hand, there's a lot of shitty information out there, like a lot that is not going to help you. Sure, it may sound good, but it's not going to actually make you a consistent trader. Why? Because the people producing this content, they are content creators. They are not traders. So the information that they're giving you is regurgitated nonsense that doesn't hold any weight in the actual world of trading. It may sound good to a new trader that doesn't really know any better, or maybe even to a struggling trader. It's not so much just a new trader, because I've seen a lot of people fall for shit and listen to wrong information that have a few years under their belt. But that's why they're listening really to the wrong people, and they're giving in to this abundance of information. And a lot of people, where I'll get comments on my videos about, oh, he's selling something, he's got to be a fraud. And I always laugh at that. It's like, there's no true professional out there that has bled and sweated and cried to get to where he or she is, that is a legitimate professional trader, that would give this information away for free. Now, I tried at the beginning, and people are too entitled. They're just not worthy of that type of information for free. You need to know that people have skin in the game and they are serious about this, because there's a lot of time wasters out there, guys. And that's that. So be careful who you're kind of getting that information from, and watch how much information you're going with. Like, don't just watch random fucking YouTube videos. Don't be doing that. Find someone that you jive with that is legitimate, and just watch that. Because out of the handful of people that may be legitimate out there, all 5 people are going to do things a little bit differently. And if you listen to one guy, and then you listen to this chick, and then you listen to me, well, those are 3 different people. And all of that information, although it's legitimate information, it's going to be very confusing. And you're going to start applying one thing from this guy's strategy and one thing from this guy's strategy. And it doesn't work like that. Strategy needs to be worked exactly the way that it is. Lastly, and it kind of touches on the last point, is careful who you get advice from. Okay. There's a lot of people and I know this is going to sound a little funny, but there are a lot of people with malicious intent. And you may not know that. And they'll give you information. Why? Just because they know that you're going to act on that information and fuck up. I've seen it. I could tell you stories that number one, you wouldn't believe. And number 2, that would make you shudder, man. Like, there's a lot of really messed up, sick, twisted people out there. And not only just that, like, that's a really far end of the spectrum, but there's a lot of people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. period, that you shouldn't be getting advice from. And the one thing and the solution for that is like, well, how do you know? Well, there's people out there like myself. I've been on social media for the past 8-9 years. Go back and take a look. Has anything that I have said, has it changed? Or am I working essentially the same strategy? Now it's evolved, but it's the same. How does that person live? Now, I'm not talking about flashing rented Airbnbs and fucking Lamborghinis and all that bullshit. It's not what I'm talking about. How does this person live? Are they living free? Right? You know, you can usually tell, right? Is someone full of shit? Like what type of life do they live? Right? Like, does this person have a bunch of free time? You know, do they spend it, you know, pursuing the things that they want to pursue? If the answer is yes, then they're probably free. They're probably living a life of freedom. And that's just one little thing. Now, there's other things too. Does this person's story change? Are they constantly changing and hitting some of these trading traps? Like, are they constantly trying to push different software on you? Are they constantly trying to change their strategy? Are they constantly changing vehicles that they're trading, like options, Forex, futures? Are they all over the place? Because if that's the case, then they're full of shit, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Once you find that consistency, that trader will work that strategy till the day they die. Why? Because it is difficult enough to develop a strategy that is consistent. It's not the act of it is hard. It is the years that get put into it that are difficult. It is the amount of time. Again, this is a game of like fucking inches, man. It takes a long time to get there. So when you find someone that can actually help you, hold on with dear life, guys, because they are few and far between. I know, as you know, point number 4 shows with the amount of information out there, it makes it look like it's everywhere. It isn't. Okay, there are very few legit people out there that can actually help you. And not only are they legit, but are they a good teacher? Are they a good instructor? Are they a good coach? Do they actually give a shit about your success? Just because a person is consistent doesn't make them a good coach or a good mentor. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of successful people that I know that I would never ask them anything because the way that they're going to explain that to me, number one, like, I'm not going to understand what they're saying because they lack communication skills, or a various list of other things. But there's very few people that if I ask for their help, they know that I'm worthy of their help. They know that if I ask advice, I am going to execute that advice and I won't waste their time. So hopefully this video helps you guys with understanding some of these trading traps that are out there that maybe you haven't thought about before. And if you want to, please make sure and like and subscribe and comment. If you have any questions whatsoever, do not feel like you can't ask any questions on this channel. I will absolutely do my best to answer them. And if you want to come join a winning team and become a consistently profitable professional trader and wants to work in a professional area, come to tricktrades.com. Until then, guys, adios.